How to win 2026 as a feminine leader. This is the topic of today, and I'm very excited to find you for this episode. It's the end of the year. This is the moment where we reflect on the year that just unfolded and we prepare next year. So, my wish for myself, for my clients, for the people that I love, and for you on this podcast is to have 2026 be the year where you are no longer afraid of visibility, money, impact, and leadership. This is the year where you step into the leader that you naturally are without having to change anything about you, and where you build not just your dream business, but your dream life. The life that you know you're meant to live when you live in your full potential. So this is what I mean when I say how to win 2026 as a feminine leader. Today, I really want to share about setting yourself up for 2026 without the burnout, without losing your soul either, or gaslighting yourself with the balanced talk that everyone is talking about that doesn't actually exist in real life. I'm going to share what it took me years to understand how feminine leadership isn't about. We will explore how to trust your season, and I will walk you through the behind the scenes of the hustle seasons, but also the more soft rest season, how none of them are better than another. They're just part of the exact same dance. So buckle up and let's jump right in. Welcome back. Happy Friday. I am so happy to be with you once again. We are celebrating a whole year, 2025, of showing up to this podcast. And when I look back where I was beginning of the year in January, my daughter was so small. I was still so deep in the trenches of postpartum, but I was there and I was showing up. I was showing up for myself, for this business, this podcast, and my ultimate dreams. And I hope that you take a moment today or in the next few days to also reflect on everything you have accomplished this year. Maybe you feel like me and you're like, I didn't cross off as much as I wish on my list this year, but you will still, like, this is how I felt yesterday. And then I went through the actual list that I've made last December and I crossed off a few things. So I'm happy. I'm also trying to practice a lot more gratitude because I feel like I've disconnected from like how important it is to celebrate the small things and to be more and more present to my life. But that's something I'm going to share in a minute deeper into this episode because you're going to see how it's connected. The episode of today is really to demystify or to really debunk, it's really to destroy this myth of balance. You probably heard me and other people talk a lot about the balance between feminine energy and masculine energy in business, between the hustle and really going after your dreams and working really, really hard and putting in the fucking work, and resting season where you are softening and surrendering and doing less and manifesting more and connecting more with your intuition. So that would be more of the feminine side and the masculine. We've talked about this many times on this podcast. The thing is, when we talk about balance between the two, there is still a lot of misconceptions. There is still a lot of like, what the fuck? And I don't know about you, but for me personally, I've always felt wrong. I felt wrong when I was hustling because all of the soft girlies were telling me that I should just lean back and attract more and surrender more and trust the universe and ask for guidance and not force and push so much because this isn't in my feminine nature. While when I was in my resting seasons and I couldn't give two fucks about working hard for the sake of working hard, I was made wrong by the hustler and the go-getter and the people crashing it because I was just lazy and I was not doing enough. I was not showing up. I was not taking enough actions. I was not enough, like, skin in the game. Let's fucking go, hustle, hustle, go, go, go. So every time I was in one or the other season, I've always felt wrong. So the episode of today is to really demystify this idea of balance or choosing one, or how to navigate having those two polarities within us so that we can truly set ourselves up for success in 2026 and create not just a business, but a life that feels really good to us. My new personal take on this idea of balance and, work-life balance or whatever. It doesn't exist. In my personal life, it doesn't freaking exist. And I don't give a fuck. What I've learned instead is to reframe how I see those seasons and to accept and to trust myself that all of my seasons are here to serve a purpose. Let me explain. I have come to really honor the seasons where I'm hustling really hard, where I'm pushing myself almost to exhaustion, almost to burnout, and to actually celebrate it. And I know it's very counterintuitive, but I have come to find that the more I lean into the season that I'm in, and the more I embrace it and I actually extract the juice of this season, the better it gets. And it's the same when I'm in the rest season, and I always oscillate between the two. I'm going to be transparent with you. 2025 was a lot of hustle and a lot of trying to tackle every single area of my life at the same time. I wanted to make my relationship 10 times better after this very painful year of parenting. I wanted to really rebuild my business almost from the ground up in terms of how I show up, my consistency, my income, building the legacy and the brand that I know I want to have after being disconnected from it for 2 years because I was in those rest seasons, because I was pregnant and taking care of my baby. And this is the first year where I didn't try to find balance. I was just honoring the cycle that I was in, and I was stop making myself wrong for being in hustle. And I shared this anecdote on my Instagram recently, how I was having a sales call with a potential client, someone I thought would become a client. And this person told me, "You actually gave me the egg." She felt this strong repulsion from my energy. She said that she felt pressured by the timer on my sales page, that my prices were not reasonable, and that she just wanted to go slow. She was telling me how I'm such in a hustle mode right now, and I was working a lot, and how it was just not her vibe right now. And she was right. I was a lot of hustle, a lot of hard work. My prices are not reasonable, because between you and me, this is not by going slow and being reasonable that I was able to transform my life, that I was able to transform how I function, become the woman that I'm proud of being today, and to continue to become someone that I'm proud of, building the life of my fucking dreams. I come from a very freaking small town in France. I have never come across anyone in my childhood with big dreams or big ambition. You just don't meet people like me from where I come from. I did a business school, but I felt like it didn't brought any sense of purpose. So I decided to be a yoga teacher because it felt a lot more purposeful, and yoga actually changed my life. So I went and did that while also moving to Netherlands, being the broke yoga teacher in Netherlands, in a country where I didn't speak the language, where I had to work in a production line factory in order to be able to pay my bills. So I was assembling sandwiches for a living while teaching yoga on the side, which I actually never saw like that. I always said that I was a yoga teacher first, and I was doing this other job on the side. But this other job was like 12 hours a day in the cold, standing on my feet in a line production work. Like, you can't imagine how hard that was. I cannot even believe that was my reality at some point. So it's not by going slow and reasonable that I was able to go from this situation to then later in my life be able to move to the Caribbean, live in turquoise water every single morning, and work from my laptop doing something that I love, serving clients that I'm obsessed with, and truly having found a sense of pride and a sense of I freaking made it. Being slow and reasonable isn't what brought me results, what brought me changes, what brought me what I have created. Even thinking about other things in life that has nothing to do with money or business, when I think about my relationship with my man, it was not by being reasonable. And I work with people that are not reasonable, that don't want to go slow. I work with people that are making big moves, that are audacious, that are ridiculously audacious, that are believing and envisioning something that only them can see in the beginning, and they're going after this vision no matter what. And they're not afraid of the hard work that it takes to get there. I'm never there to sugarcoat my client saying, you're just going to manifest everything. We're going to do vision boards and mindset work and you're going to have your dream life. I'm very realistic with them, and being realistic while also being delusional about the outcome and the kind of life we want to create, being so delusional that it's so far away from our reality, it's hard to actually imagine it because of how far it is, but simultaneously reasonable enough to know that it's going to take some kind of work. I'm here for those kind of people. This is where I position my work, the perfect combination of hardcore strategy with sensuality, embodiment, and all of the magical work that is so needed too. But my point was, I created such a business and a life where it can hold all of those times, and I don't have to find a balance where I can be supported by my business and go all in and work 12 hours nonstop. No sleep, no food, not even a fucking pee break needed, because I'm like laser focused working on my laptop like a crazy person. And also the seasons where I just don't want to do anything and I just want to be in the couch watching my favorite TV reality show, either the Kardashian or Selling Sunset or something that makes me feel so relaxed. I never want to choose because I want to be able to move through my different seasons. And isn't it the freaking goal? But something else that I was reflecting on is how when I'm in those hustle season, it's almost like psychedelic trip where everything is so zoomed in. You're so inside what you're doing. You're so focused. You forget everything outside yourself. And you have moments in life where life gets really hard, maybe a grief or a heartbreak. For me, for example, it was when I was in deep grief, when I lost a family member, or when I was broken up with and I was going through a very hard heartbreak, or in those moments where something terrible happens and I just realize, whoa, none of this matters. Do you know the moments that I'm talking about, when you're stripped from everything and none of your usual concerns actually matter anymore? And all that matters is this gratitude you have for even being alive, for the people in your life. And all you can think of is that you forget all of your problems. You suddenly feel like you took this really high from above worldview of yourself and you're not so caught up in the day-to-day stuff that are little stressor. I had the same kind of moment 2 days ago where I was just, whoa, taking a moment back and realizing, wow, I've been indeed a lot of hustle and a lot of fire, and I don't want to make myself wrong for it at all, because those seasons are needed, and this is how I feel powerful and I feel fucking badass. And I know that I'm working for my dreams, while most people are gonna dream about their dreams most of their lives. And I don't have time to fucking waste. So I really want to take those actions. But in that moment, I also felt like none of it matters. What matters was just my bigger why I do that, how much I want to pour into my clients. I was not so much in the strategy and how to get this and how to launch and what content I'm going to create and how is it going to be more strategic. I was just feeling grateful for the life that I have now. And that's what inspired this podcast episode, because I want to be able to hold space for every single version of me to exist in my life and in my business. And I really wanted to talk about this dance where you go from super zoomed in, you don't realize, you almost forget how the things that are really quote unquote important in life are the really simple things, like being healthy, having my daughter happy, like being in a happy, healthy relationship with my man, having my parents around, having a roof over my head, having water, like all those very simple things. And when you're in a hustle, like I want more, I'm hungry, let's go get it, and you're trying to transform and change yourself, sometimes you get a little disconnected from that, which for me, I feel a little disconnected from my heart and my soul in those moments. But again, it's okay. It's okay, because those moments are building the life that I also really want. And so when people are like, you should balance it, if I try to balance it in those moments of hustle, I'm going to lose this fire. I'm going to lose the momentum that I created. So I do not want to lose it. And sometimes I'm going to step out of that energy and just feel like I just want to lay down in the grass and watch the sunset and never think about business ever again. Because why am I even here? And I'm having those very deep spiritual questions in my head. And I want to have the space to do that in my business. I want to have the space to do that in my life and to see it as a breath. It's just an inhale and an exhale, but it's the same breath. I did not have to choose, and I actually create a world where it's normal to be all of it, where we don't have to put ourselves in boxes and we can actually just embrace whatever season we are in. As I said, 2025 for me has been a very fiery season. A lot of work. I had so much to unlearn and to learn, so many strategies, so many things I wanted to create. Relaunching my business, like it takes a lot of fuel and fire. But on the flip side of that, the year before that, it was when I was pregnant and giving birth and everything. I couldn't give two fucks about my business. I was just absorbed in the life I was building inside of me, but also the life that we were building, turning into a family of 3. And same for this potential client. Like right now, her priorities are about slowing down and enjoying the life that she has right now. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's just that obviously she's not meant to be in my container business activator because this is a lot of fire. We do bridge both. And I'm here to do meditation and a lot of nervous system regulation because you want to be able to build this powerful nervous system of a millionaire. If you want to hold that, I have a practice called Wired for Millions. So we do a lot of that slow, sensual, amazing work, but it's always coupled with hardcore strategy because if we don't do one or the other, honestly, you don't get amazing results. What if to prepare 2026 and to be the best version of you, the one who isn't afraid of visibility, money, and leadership, you would actually have to embrace that you're going to move through different seasons, sometimes even within the same year. Some moments where you're going to want to be iconic and stretch yourself so much and really push the edges of your comfort zone and go for it and work hard and almost burn out or even burn out. It's something that people, I even started this episode saying like without burning out. A lot of people say they burn out. It's not true. They're just feeling so much aversion to hard work that when it gets hard and they're a little tired, they say they're burnt out. It is not true. You're not burned out. Just calm yourself down. Okay? But also, I wish you to be burned out. It means that you gave everything for something you cared about. I wish you to be burned out the way I was burned out. I was burned out because I worked so freaking hard and it was messy and it was chaotic and it was a little disgusting, but I worked so hard for something that I cared so much about, something that I was so passionate about, and I don't fucking regret it. I've learned so much from it. It's not necessarily the energy that I'm going to call in this year. Like, who wants to actually burn out? It's a real thing. Like, it will fry your nervous system and swing you back into paralysis and full lethargy because you're going to be like, I don't want to do that ever again. I don't want to be fried again. So that's not what I wish you. But at the same time, I wish you to know what it's like. But at the same time, I wish you to know what it's like to hustle, to push yourself. When you go to the gym, how good does it feel when you stretch yourself? When you do that one more rep, when you felt you had nothing left within you, when you feel so sore because you really pushed your edges and because you did something you've never done before. This is how you get stronger. This is how you build muscle. This is how you evolve, how you change. And so it's freaking phenomenal. And we shouldn't blame or shame this. Like, everyone wants to have a strong opinion these days on social media and be the one who reinvents the wheel and has this like groundbreaking, polarizing opinion. I get it. But at the same time, it's also wonderful when you don't give two shits about your business. I also wish that on you, where you fully fucking surrender, where you fucking let go of this stress that you're always rushing and running after something because it doesn't really matter. Because at some point you almost step out of it and you realize how insignificant you are in a good way, in a way that you are so small and you're here on earth for such a short period of time and you have this one precious life. So why not stop and smell smell the roses and just excel and be yourself and don't give a fuck anymore about results, money, and power, and just live and breathe and slow down. So I really want you to have the full spectrum. I don't know about you, but for me, when I signed up for this human experience, I signed up for the full fucking package. I was like, sign me in. I want to experience what it's like to be human and I want all of it. So I tend to have that. I tend to swing from one end of the spectrum to the other. Maybe that's also because I'm a Libra. Who knows? I do not care. I'm here for it. Is it painful at times? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It is. But also, is it rewarding? Do I feel like I had 15 lives in this one life already and I'm just 30 years old? Yes. Do I feel like I've done more than most people will ever do in their lifetime? And again, I'm only 30 years old. So I'm very excited with what I'm building, what I have built, and it has always been in that same breath, this dance between hard work, pushing, almost forcing, extracting the juice of everything I can give, and completely surrendering, living it up to magic, speaking with my fairies and being a soft, surrendered wifey in the kitchen, praying over my food and just like being in the juiciness of this life without any goal or achievements, just being. And so the realization I had a few days ago, it was actually a very vulnerable, soft moment. I was in my bed. I had my pink light in my room with a candle. You know, it was very cocooning, very enveloping, and very sensual. And I was feeling all of this gratitude in my heart. I was feeling connected to God and I was actually asking for forgiveness. Forgiveness that I forgot why I do what I do. Forgiveness because I was such in hustle that I almost lost track of the meaning and the purpose behind it. But I also trust myself enough and trust the divine timing that I'm always in a season for a reason. I'm going to repeat that. I'm always in a season for a reason. So the more I lean into what I have, the more trust I can actually build. Trust in God and my divine timing. Trust in myself too. I think the real antidote to trying to find balance and always be balanced and always have the perfect mix between your feminine and your masculine, between your hustle and your softening is actually to, number one, give yourself a break. Number two, when you give yourself a break, you can then trust yourself then that you're going to exhaust yourself, but you're not going to burn out because you're going to know when to stop. Maybe in those seasons where you don't give two fucks about your business and you're just softening and being a surrendered wifey in the kitchen, cooking, baking sourdough for your man and raising the child and living in that fantasy. Maybe in those moments you feel like you're being lazy or lethargic or that your goals are not moving forward. You also get to trust yourself that you're not going to fuck up all of your progress, that you're not going to give up on yourself, that you're not give up on your dreams. Do you have this feeling too? It's hard to explain it, but I know I've experienced it so many times where I feel like I really need to rest and to slow down. But one, I feel guilty. And second, I feel like if I do, I'm going to lean into doing nothing and being lazy and rotting on my couch and watching TV reality show for the rest of my fucking life. And I feel like, oh my God, I'm giving up on myself. I do that with the gym too. I do that with my training. I've said that to my personal trainer, my fitness coach recently. Since my birthday in Prague, which was in September, we're in December, so it's kind of alarming. But I was so off track and off balance with my workout routine and my nutrition because of that 10-day trip where I really took some time off from my business, from the gym, from everything. And it was extremely hard for me to go back. It was just 10 days, but it threw me off balance in a weird way. I think it's also because I was in such a hustle, trying to get everything perfect and really, as I said, rebuilding my body too. I didn't mention it in the beginning, but I was not just rebuilding my relationship, my business, I was also rebuilding my body after gaining 30 kilos from pregnancy and losing a lot of muscle and not feeling fit at all. Pregnancy, that was hard. That was hard. Yesterday, I was trying to find the spiritual meaning of gaining so much weight and the answer was just cookie dough. And I just remembered the kilos of cookie dough that I had when I was pregnant. So I was like, it's your fault, you're fat. Like, there's nothing spiritual in it. But obviously, I'm joking. I'm sure there is also a deeper reason for why I expanded my physical vehicle. Maybe to just hold more. Who knows? Who cares? It happens. So I've been extremely, extremely diligent and working hard towards losing that weight and rebuilding my shape and being in shape again up until my birthday. And then we go to Prague and we're like just living life, going to restaurant every day. We're active because we're walking a lot, but we're not going to the gym or anything. We're just really enjoying being in holidays for 10 days. As my 30th birthday present, I recorded a whole episode on everything we did and all of the saunas that we did and the spa treatments, and it was like the best birthday ever. So I don't regret it. That's what I'm saying. But I've said to my personal trainer, I feel like shit because since then I'm really off balance. And because I was pushing so hard, I felt a little repulsed by the idea of going back to what I was doing before because it was a little intense. I was really pushing and stretching myself. And so to circle back and come back to full circle to my original point, sometimes I got this feeling, and I got it this time with fitness, of, oh my God, I'm giving up on myself. And I'm afraid that I will never step a foot in the gym ever again. Do you have that? Am I the only one? I was talking to that with my fitness coach, and she could definitely relate that she had that before. And it was really about her trusting herself that even if she take a step back or if she doesn't go to the gym for a while, she won't come back to it. And that's really the mindset that I'm in, you know. I go to the gym for the rest of my life. Like, I go to the gym to be healthy, not to hit a specific goal. I go to the gym to be strong and because I love it. And so it's okay if I take some time off, even if it turns into 3 weeks or 3 months. I feel guilty. I feel a little shame. I'm not going to lie, but it's okay. That's what my point is. It's okay. I trust myself enough that I'm not just going to never go to the gym ever again. For business, it's the same. When people are going through a low season or a season of being more soft and prioritizing their social life or their body or their healing, they feel like they will never go back, that they're gonna give up. This is the feeling that I was trying to describe. So we came full circle. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Something else that inspired this episode is a conversation I had with a client. It's something that happens with my clients. Sometimes they come to me for the structure and the hustle and the strategy and bringing more organization in their businesses, so they have the systems that really make the business like solid and profitable. And sometimes they come to me for more of the embodiment of like really stepping into that iconic era of building a brand that they're obsessed with, that they love, that really reflects who they are, and they want to do it in such an integrous, loving, spiritual way, and they really want that depth. And sometimes they come for that, one or the other, and the medicine they need is sometime in the opposite, right? It's learning how to dance, not find balance. We don't need 50-50. This is bullshit. But to dance with those two qualities, those two energies within us. She was struggling a lot with her content. Like, it's driving her freaking insane. She actually burned out earlier this year because of content. She's like, I don't know what to post. I'm always spending way too much time trying to create one piece of content, to find the good hook, to know exactly what to write in my captions so that it makes people want to sign up with me and so that I grow my followers and my audience. She was going insane and she was extremely frustrated. And so I referred to her in the vault, and so I sent her to the vault, which is where my clients have access to all of my trainings and all of my materials. This is something that I've built in 2025 for my private clients. It's something that I'm obsessed with, and I keep building with them at this very minute. It's so freaking excited, and it helped me to also increase the value of my coaching so much more. And so in that vault, there is a training about repurposing systems. So it helps you to do many, many things, but mostly it's to never run out of ideas. And if it's when you create one piece of content, you can actually multiply it in so many different other pieces of content in an easy, fast way so that you don't run out of ideas and you don't burn out creating content. And she did the training and she was like, I'm even more overwhelmed now. And I'm like, this is literally the opposite of the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, this is actually what you shouldn't feel. The repurposing system in question, but that's just an example to show something that we can apply to a larger scale. This was very masculine. It's a lot of structure, organization. You build a system that works for you, and then you apply it, and it makes your business run so much more smoothly. And it removed the headache. But in her case, she was so deep already in trying, forcing, hustling, working hard, which I profoundly admire. You must see this woman. She is so strong and dedicated to her craft, and she wants to create so much for her clients. That's why she's working so hard. She gives a premium service. She's extremely good at what she does, extremely knowledgeable. And I don't say that just to say that. She is really freaking cool. Her ability to stay consistent and work hard is something that I really profoundly admire. Simultaneously, I also know that she has a very strong, soft, feminine, deep and spiritual part in her. And she was completely disconnected from that, trying to hit the right spot with her content, trying so hard to make the thing so perfect. Who can relate? I definitely can relate to that big time. And I said to her, okay, we're going to do 2 really, really strategic pieces of content this week. And the rest of the content is just going to be for fun. We're going to take the pressure off and you're going to come back to why you do what you do. I led her back to the reason why she started in the first place, why she wants to help her clients, why it matters to her, and to that more feminine part in herself. An exercise that I've always done with my clients is to pick a name for their higher self, badass, hyper successful version of them. So we have different names. Mine is Cleo for Cleopatra because this is an energy I resonate with so freaking much. And I genuinely believe that I was Cleopatra in another life. And when other people are saying that, I'm like so mad because I'm like, no, that was me. It's so freaking silly, but here we are. So we have a name for our archetypes. And what I realized recently is that we should also have a name for the most surrendered, trustful, deep and spiritual version of us so that we can call in this archetype when the other one is taking a little too much space or we're leaning too much and we need to catch ourselves and dance back into the other side of the energy. Does that make sense? Am I speaking Chinese right now? My wish for you in 2026, if you want to have the best year ever, if you want to set yourself up for success and have clients, dream clients, signing, working with you on repeat, where you want to have a nervous system so relaxed you can hold all of the success you desire, and for you to step into that leader, the Betty that you know you already are, but actually have the tangible results and the tangible proof that you are doing it, that you are living the dream. I want to invite you into embracing the extremes, giving yourself a break and not listening to the noise. Trusting that your seasons are here for a reason. That softness without structure collapses, but that drive and fire without heart will kill your soul. I want to invite you to trust yourself enough to know exactly when to pause, when to rest, when to push and accelerate, when to stretch and not be afraid. This one belief, changing how you view this idea of balance and realizing that you don't have to be balanced, that will decide whether you win or you're self-abandoned in 2026. Because you can either embrace each and every season, knowing there are seasons and trusting yourself, or be in the season no matter what, but then make yourself wrong for it. And so in 2026, I want to see a lot more of us feeling so drastically confident in the fact that we are both ambitious and I'm also are bitches who needs a lot of rest. And we love to do nothing and we love to stop smell the roses. But we also want to build the empire. We also want the big money, the big results. And that it's never about finding balance, it's about breathing. And at the end of each exhale, there is always an inhale. And after each inhale, there is always an exhale. And that's why I'm saying you cannot build anything of value, anything meaningful, if you don't have a deep breath, a deep inhale, and a deep exhale. But depending on what you're doing, maybe you're very happy or you're working out or you're very stressed, your breath is going to be different. Some inhale are going to be a little shorter and exhale longer, or vice versa. Some breath are going to be bigger and take more space in your body. Some breath are going to be shorter. And this is about embracing all of it. When you're ecstatic and joyful and you're just like dancing and running around and you don't want to kill that energy, you don't want to be there, oh, I need to take deep breath. No. And when you are deep and calm and reading a book and drinking a warm tea and meditating, you don't want to be in that excited energy. So you respect your energy throughout the day or throughout whatever you're experiencing in life. Respect your energy in business. I'm saying that as someone who initially built her business on a lot of softness, a lot of intuition, on vision boards and affirmations and a lot of mindset work, and it worked. I hit my first 10K month. I was ecstatic. I lived in the Caribbean, my toes in the sand in Mexico. It just felt amazing. I had my dream apartment. I felt hot and sexy and I was just so happy about my achievement. But I didn't really had a strong structure to hold it together or to make the business scalable and profitable in the long term, like sustainably. And on the other side of it, I also tried to go hard, all in, just structure, building my website, building new offers, just trying to strategize as much as possible. And I felt like I lost my soul, that I lost my heart, and that I lost the magic, and that I became one of the person I didn't want to become, because I was becoming just like the people I saw growing up that are just doing a work to do a work and there is no deeper purpose and meaning behind it. And so now I know better. Now I know that we need both. And it's something that is always at the core of every single episode and at the core of everything that I do. But I don't want to advertise it as like balance. Like it always has to be at the perfect equilibrium. It's actually really, really good to swing from one end to the other, because you're going to swing one time and then another time and then another time. And like that, with that movement of going through different seasons, you're going to find naturally yourself at a better equilibrium. But it's always a dynamic thing. That's why I talked about a breath. It's because it's dynamic. It never stops. It's not a point that you reach and you're like, oh my God, I'm so balanced now. It's an equilibrium. I call it the golden equilibrium. How you swing in one season and one energy and then back to the other one. And you let yourself experience this pendulum swing without shaming yourself for it. I know what the girls are saying online. Who gives a fuck? Be extreme. Live this life to the fucking fullest. And you bring yourself and you're going to find this golden equilibrium as a dynamic thing where you're going to evolve, where you're going to allow yourself to always be moving. And it's okay. You don't stay stuck. You're always moving. So when you're too extreme and too hustle, you bring yourself back with more softness. And when you're a little too soft and a little too woo-woo and a little too relaxed and not really acting on your dreams, you bring yourself back to action without shame, without judgment, without thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? Without spiraling into, oh my God, I fucked this up and then something is wrong with me because the girls on internet say so. Fuck that. I think that's how we should end this episode. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week, and I talk to you next Friday.